Hello, it's Paul here and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the USS Constitution, and she's made entirely out of Lego. The ship is about 1.5 meters long and just over a meter high. Took me about, I'd say about 2 months to build, and it's an accurate historic representation of the USS Constitution based on prints and plans at the time. And this is the scene when she's engaging the British frigate HMS Guerriere. Now, it didn't end too well for the British, and there were quite a few reasons for that. But the first thing was the way that the USS Constitution was designed. A man called Joshua Humphreys built her, and what he discovered in America was that there was oak growing in swamps called live oak that was incredibly dense, and it was about 50% more stronger than the white oak the British were using. So unbeknown to the British, he built this frigate out of live oak, which made her incredibly strong. So during the 1812 war with Britain, the Constitution narrowly escaped the British in July when a squadron of ships came after her. But then on August the 19th, the Constitution's captain, a chap called Isaac Hull, came across the British frigate's captain, James Dacres, and a challenge was just issued, and they engaged each other. Now, the British were incredibly aggressive in their tactics. We're talking sort of 7 years after Trafalgar, so they were extremely confident and competent during warfare and naval warfare. They'd been used to fighting the French and the Spanish, so they weren't too worried about taking on an American frigate. So the numerical side, the British had about 270 on board, the Americans had 480 on board. So even with those odds, the British still fancied their chance against the Constitution. So the Constitution is rated as a 44 gun ship. Now that doesn't mean she carried 44 gun ships. 44 guns. The reason that they're rated as a 44 gun was really for administrative purposes and that sort of thing. In reality, she carried, I think, about 54 guns, and the Guerriere, rated a 38 gun frigate, carried about 44 guns. And on the Constitution, she had 24-pounder guns on a gun deck, which is here, and then on the spar deck, she had carronades, 32-pounder carronades. Now these were big, powerful guns on the ship here, and they were used to smash enemy ships at close range. So if we just have a look along the deck of the Constitution, we'll have a look from the start. So if we look from the bow, we have the dolphin striker there on the I think that's the foremast, and then if we just come around here, we've got a sailor there. Oh, sorry, bit of a problem with the camera there. A sailor there on the heads of the ship, or the toilet. He's obviously been taken short just before the battle and just doing what he needs to do. And then we've got the cat head here. I'll just come around for you there. And the cat head is the device, or the piece of heavy wood braced by metal that supported the anchors. And again, if we look at some of the rigging there, there's Technic pins on the rigging. That's Lego string, as with all my models. And if we have a look here, we've got the gratings on the deck. Again, the gratings are headlight bricks inverted, and there's the stove next to it. And then we've got some of the ship's boats with United States Marines on the boats engaging the Guerriere's crew. And if we walk along here, we can find Isaac Hull. He's there with his back to us. We'll take a spin round and see what he's up to. But he was looking across at the British frigate, and he wasn't too bothered. He fancied the odds. He was happy with that. And the British weren't really effective with their shooting. Like, they shot various broadsides at the Constitution, and most of them missed. And then when they got in range to fire their main broadside, so here's the Guerriere firing a main broadside, the cannonballs bounced off the side of the Constitution because of the live oak, and and a sailor aboard the Guerriere was alleged to say, "Huzzah, she's made of Ironsides," and because of that she was nicknamed Old Ironsides. But you can imagine the horror from the British crew when, you know, they were up close, ready to engage and potentially board the ship, and their cannonballs bounced off the side. And at that point, they must have realised, you know, this is not going to end well for us today. And it didn't end well for the British. The Guerriere was demasted and sat in the water helpless. Now, Isaac Hull was an honourable man. He sent a message across to Captain Dacres and said, you know, are you finished? Do you want to surrender? And Dacres surrendered his ship. I mean, his position was untenable. At that time, Dacres had lost about 50% of his crew, whereas the USS Constitution, I think, had 7 killed and 7 wounded. So they were never, ever, ever, once that stage had been reached, going to come back from that. And the Constitution looked to take the Guerriere as a prize, but the Guerriere was so badly damaged that they ended up burning it, and she sank. So if we look at the mainmast here, again, I've tried to use as many pirate elements as I can. Unfortunately, on a ship this size, you're really restricted to the middle or the top elements because of the weight and the size. I mean, these masts, as I said, they're well over a metre tall, and you know they are built accurately and faithfully to the plans. And if we have a look at the top, there's the old flag of the I think it was the Union. Someone will tell me if that's wrong, before the rest of the stars came in it. And the Constitution went on to harass the Royal Navy. I think she sank the Java, HMS Java, in quick succession as well, and that changed the whole British doctrine on engaging enemy frigates. I mean, the American crews were incredibly well disciplined. They were well trained, and I believe they were all volunteers. Now, the Royal Navy, as we all know, had a series of impressment, and merchantmen were seized off ships, and that was one of the reasons that America went to war with Britain, because the Royal Navy was stopping American merchant ships and taking the sailors off of them and saying, you're now in the Royal Navy. And if you didn't like that, well, that was unfortunate. So that was one of the reasons for that. And if we have a look at some of the American crew here, you can see they've got their shot boxes there, and they're priming their carronades. And again, you have to remember that the carronade alone, broadside on the ship, would have been sufficient enough to rake and destroy the whole of the Guerriere's deck before the British really had a chance to get back into battle. And as I said, the high casualty rate of the British and the extremely low casualty rate of the American Navy was testament to that. And if we have a look around here, we've got the boats on the davits. Again, these are just my normal MOC boats. I'll take this one off here and you can have a look at it. And again, they're just made out of tiles and plates. And again, I've tried to get the keel on the boat and make them as fairly accurate as I can. And we've got this one, like I said, he's on the davit there. And on this side, just so you can see what it looks like, the crew there are launching their boat from the davit. If we have a look at the carronades there, they're firing their shot. The discs from that, from the Lego disc launcher, they've got ice cream, which is the smoke, and a Technic ball, which is used as the cannonball, and they're just placed in there on a Technic pin. And if we have a look at the back there, we've got some of the crew perhaps killing their livestock, giving it a whack of the head and throwing it off the ship. That's normally what happened before a battle. They would have carried pigs and goats and cows, and you wouldn't want those running around the ship. So before battle took place, they would kill them and usually throw them over the side. So there we are. And if we come back up to the fighting tops here, you can see some of the United States Marines in their fighting tops. And again, from even on a Lego model, you can see the commanding position these crews had over their Royal Marine British counterparts and sailors British counterparts. And again, you've got a Marine here. Again, he's loading his musket there. So a Harry Potter wand is being used as a ramrod. He's got an incredibly aggressive face there, perhaps trying to scare the British into submission. But these sailors and Marines, they were incredibly confident in their commander and the ship. I mean, they knew that the ship that they were on was something special. And they had every faith that they were going to destroy any British ship that they encountered, which of course they did do. Now, the USS Constitution currently holds the record as the oldest commissioned warship afloat, and she's moored in Boston Harbour in Massachusetts. Now, the oldest commissioned warship in the world is HMS Victory, but she sits in a dry dock in Portsmouth, so therefore she's not in the water. So yeah, Old Ironside's the oldest commissioned warship afloat, and I believe that the United States Navy still send sailors on it. The ship's company are active sailors, and it's the same as being drafted to any other ship, and I imagine it's quite an honour to serve on Old Ironsides, considering her history. You know, and you have to remember that, you know, she was one of only 6 ships, frigates in the United States Navy at the time. The United States was only 30 years old. It didn't have the money or the resources to take the United Kingdom on a one-on-one basis. It couldn't have done that. So they knew, Humphreys knew he had to pull something out the bag special, and that's what he did with the Constitution. It was, you know, a remarkable, and still is, a remarkable frigate, a remarkable piece of engineering, and it changed British doctrine forever. After this encounter, captains of British warships were told, you know, you don't take on American frigates, the heavy frigates, on single actions, because you may lose. So it did really, you know, dispel the myth of British invincibility after Trafalgar, and, you know, the British knew that they were vulnerable to the fledgling United States Navy. So there we are. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making the Constitution. As I said, it's to scale, so 175 feet is the original Constitution, and by studs, as we measure things in Lego scale, it's like I say, it's just over 1.5 meters long, so it is accurate as it can be. There's a lot of Technic pieces inside the hull, so the hull has been braced together to make it slope inwards. If I just take some of these boats off and let you have a look down the gratings here, the inside, there is an interior to the ship, so everything's had to be engineered the way that the real ship is actually made. It has to be braced and pinned, and, you know, to get the decks in. And again, if we look down the sides, I'll try and show you there, you can see that the sides bow inwards and sort of like a bell shape, as they do on the actual frigate, and then they sort of slope backwards to give it the profile. We'll have a look at that profile from here. Again, there we are. So we'll just come back a bit so you can appreciate the size of the ship. Now, you're probably saying there's no sails on it. I do have sails for both ships, but again, if I put the sails on the ships, you won't see the detail of the masts, and it's difficult to work around and look at the deck of the ship. And we'll just come around this side and have a look at the aspect of the Constitution firing her guns at the Guerriere. Okay, we'll just come in there for you. And again, the power of that broadside when I hit that British ship would have been absolutely unbelievable. So there we are. Look, I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you do enjoy it, please like and consider subscribing. It does help out the channel, and we're just starting out here showing our models and that. So if you could support us, even if you like the video, you know, and let me know that you appreciate it, that'd be great. I'll post another video of the Guerriere. I'm not going to do that today because I need to take the Constitution out of the way so you can really appreciate and have a good look at the Guerriere. But look, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.